Hey you guys, I'm so excited to finally be back with you. It's been, probably at least a month. We had an exciting time at convention. And I'm going to talk about convention for just a minute because I want to thank all of you, seriously, for coming up and introducing yourself to me while we were at convention. I was so surprised the number of people that just came up all day long and just said they were watching the videos and how much it had helped them. So I really appreciate you encouraging me because, you know, when you're sitting here just talking to a camera, and I originally started this for my team members, and now we're up to like 100,000 total views or close to that number. And it's just pretty exciting for me. You know the people are watching, but you don't really know, who they are or what's going on. So to hear your stories was really super exciting for me. I want to do just a couple shout outs from convention. One of those is Tito Farias, and he is from Union City, Indiana. And I'm from Indiana, so I didn't even know until just a few days ago that we were so close together. But Tito is a rock star. He is going to knock this business out of the ballpark. I just appreciate you so much, Titus. You just brought so much joy to me when you came up to me. There's just something about you that is joyful. You just carry joy with you. So I just want to thank you for introducing yourself and coming up and then connecting on Facebook. I've had a lot of fun with you. And then, I'm not going to know this last name, but there's another fellow, Thomas, I want to say Tazbaz, but I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, from Louisville, Kentucky. And he rode back from Denver to Louisville on the same flight as us. And it was a little bit of a funny story because he was sitting with one of the gals on my team a few rows back from me on the plane, and I could hear them chattering the whole way. And she finally introduced us, and he told me that he had been training his team with some YouTube videos from some lady that he didn't know her name. And so that lady was me, and so he thinks that I should tell you my name. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Lisa King, and so I just want to thank Thomas for pointing out the error of my ways and reminding me that you guys don't really know me. So there you have it. Those were some special moments that we had at convention, and I appreciate each and every one of you that came up and took pictures and talked and shared your stories. So today, we're going to talk about some things that I think are super important to fill the seats in your class. I call it get butts in your seat. I hear this from people all the time. I can't get people there. Nobody comes. I invited 20 people. 2 people showed up. Nobody showed up, and whatever. So we're going to go over some things that will make this way more successful for you and increase your attendance dramatically. So the first thing I want to talk about is how you actually invite. A lot of times, I'm sorry, I got a little bit of something in my throat today. A lot of times people invite through a Facebook invite, and that is, I'm telling you, hands down the worst way to invite people. Nobody even opens those. If you think back, how many invites have you gotten on Facebook in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days that you never even looked at and opened? People are not looking at those. So don't invite through a Facebook event or invite. People just don't pay attention. Now that's not to say not to connect with people on Facebook or not to make a post about your class or whatever. You want to be doing that and you want to be engaging people, but don't use that as your sole means of inviting. Use that as a way of communicating. So when you invite, you want to invite in person is the best way, literally in person. I know for some of you that's very old-fashioned, but that is how we connect with people. This is a relational business, and people want to be connected to you. So they can't sense your enthusiasm and your excitement. They can't learn anything about the product if you're just sending them an invite through Facebook. So you want to talk to them, be enthusiastic. Maybe you've got a sample of some Breathe or some Orange and share that with them when you invite. And then tell them that you'll follow up with them to be sure that they can make it to the class, okay? So invite in person, that's number one best way to invite. Second way, if you can't do that, is going to be through a text or a Facebook message. But again, be sure that you're sharing your enthusiasm. And it's way harder, as we know, through electronics in this digital age than it is through a phone call or in person, okay? So phone calls in person is hands down the best way to do that. Second thing I want to share with you guys is once you've set your event, to actually open a Facebook group for that event. This is huge. So again, do not do an event, do a Facebook group. Here's a couple reasons why you don't want to do an event. First of all, if anything has to be rescheduled, when that event is over, it's over. So now you have to start all over again. You have to create a new event. You have to re-invite all the people and make all your posts all over again from scratch. Okay, so do not do an event. Always do a group specifically for that group. The best thing about that is that not only can you stay connected during the forerunning time up to the class, but afterwards you can go in and thank people and then continue to ask questions and answer questions from people once they've been to the class, because people like follow-up, and that's a good way to follow up with the people who were specifically in this class, okay? So when you do that group, first thing you want to do is put your hostess, if someone's hostessing for you, put her in. Be sure to do a really attractive cover on the top. And then when you make your first original post where you introduce yourself and you talk a little bit about oil, be sure that you put a big catchy picture in that post as well. Don't just put, you know, a blurb about yourself and it's just going to be like a common post that's going to get lost. And once you've done that, then link that to the top. There's a place on that actual post, a little arrow on the right-hand side. You can click on that and it will say pin this post. So pin that to the top. Then that way every single person who comes into the group, as soon as they open that group up, they're going to see your pin and they're going to talk about read about what you're telling them about oil. Then continue to engage in that group day after day after day. I do 2, 3, 4 posts a day. Just some things from the new Amplify app. Who's got that? That's totally awesome. So I use that. If you don't know what that is, contact me, message me on the bottom of the video, or get with your upline. It's fantastic. I'm already loving that so much. But you can use the Amplify app. You can, of course, go Google Images. You can go into Pinterest. Be sure you're using doTERRA posts. And if you do Pinterest, be sure that it's not sending them to someone else's website. You want them connected to you, not someone else, okay? So, and then, of course, do your own stories, your own testimonies compliantly. And share pictures, as many pictures as you can. People tend to just gloss over when they see that you've just written something. They gloss over that. When they see a picture, that's eye-catching. So lots of recipes, those kind of things, not just food recipes, of course, but lots of recipes for blends. Those are the things that will really engage people. And I always ask them, you know, let them know up front, like, what kind of questions do you have? How can I help you before the class actually starts? What do you know about oil? Who's using oil? So you want to ask all those kinds of questions and really get people engaged. Tag people as you're walking through. You know, you see them like one comment or something, or they have something to say about, maybe they're talking about a Sleepy Time oil, and then you post something about the new Serenity oil, so you want to tag them in that. So really engage these people in this group. You will be amazed at how high your attendance will be once they've kind of looked at oil, gotten to know you a little bit, and had some answers to some questions. Third thing to do is just a few days out, when it's almost time for your class, about 2 days before, if someone is hosting for me, I get the guest list from them. If I'm hosting, I just use, obviously, my own guest list. But whoever's presenting the class should make a phone call to every person on the guest list. Now, what they're going to do is do a super mini 2-minute mini consult on the phone, okay? You're not going to have a long conversation. They don't want to talk with you for a half an hour. And if you've got 10 or 20 people invited, you don't want to talk to them for half an hour either. So you're just going to make a 2-minute phone call, and you're just going to say, hey, this is whoever you are, and I'm presenting at the class at so-and-so's house on such and such of a date. I just wanted to connect with you real quick, find out what your top 2 or 3 health concerns are so that I can be sure I'm prepared for you when you come to the class. Now, do you see what that does? You just completely engaged them and drew them in. And now you're not just a sale. You're not just a number or another guest at the party, but they are actually have a connection to you, and they are a person in real life to you, and you're a person in real life to them. And not only that, but now you're a person who cares about them, okay? Because everybody, I am telling you guys, everybody needs someone to listen to them. This is why hairdressers know everything that goes on in your life, because you sit down and you have their undivided attention for an hour, and you can just puke your life all over them because nobody listens to us. So you be the listener, okay? Be the listener. Let people talk, because their doctor's not hearing them, their family's tired of hearing them, their friends are tired of hearing them, nobody's listening. So you be the listener. So if you can just take that 2 minutes and actually show some concern for them and some compassion and find out what they really want to know about. Maybe you're planning to go in there and talk about babies and kids and whatever, and you've got a few seniors coming in who want to talk about the fact that they can't sleep and they've got anxiety or they've got aches and pains. So this is going to help you be prepared for your class, and you can be sure that you can address every person that's there. But building that connection before that class is huge. An example of this is a few weeks ago, I had a class that had 10 guests on the guest list. They had 3 confirmed, and after I made the phone calls, we had 7 guests. So we more than doubled our attendance at that class. So super important to do that. And then the final thing is that on the day of the class, I always have my hostess call and just let them know a few hours ahead of time that if they want to bring a guest, they're going to get a free gift. So a lot of times you'll be surprised. You'll have 2 or 3 extra people pop in that you were not expecting. So be sure that you have a gift. And what I use is actually just those little organza bags, and I put 2 or 3 samples in. I make them up with a label. So this was one of my team members' ideas, Lenora Crawford, and they are just awesome. I love it. But so we do like a few oils for pain in a bag that's got a pain tag, and then some of them for sleeping, some of them for stress, some for anxiety, some for the wild child, You can use your imagination and figure out what kind of things you want to use, but that's a super inexpensive gift. You make a bunch of these in little organza bags, put them in a basket, and you will be amazed. People will dig through that basket. They are crazy about this. So it's a great way to have a lot of inexpensive gifts and cover a lot of needs for a lot of people, and you're giving them oil instead of something that's not necessarily oil related, okay? And saved yourself a bunch of money. All right, so those are my tips for today on getting people in your classes, and I really want you guys to let me know how this works for you. Just for real, let me know if you get a higher attendance, if you have some other tips. I would love to have some other tips if you have some other ideas, but these are the things that our team are using right now, and we're having great success with them. So let me know how it works for you, and we will see you again next week. Thanks.